What's up, guys? In this video, I'll give you some insight into the whole mental process of moving to Japan, as well as settling into life in Japan. Welcome to Philip on This. If you don't know who I am already, I'm Philip. I spent a year in Japan from 2020 to 2021, and I wanted to make a video describing the whole mental process of moving to Japan, as well as how it was living there and how I spent my year there. So if you want to see that, stick around. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Have you ever wondered what it's like to live in the land? Have you ever wondered what it's like to move to the land of the rising sun? I lived there for a year as an assistant language teacher, and I can share with you some of what I did to prepare for moving to Japan and what I did to combat homesickness and culture shock while living in Japan. And let's get started. Yum. To start off, after I got my job offer, I had about a year to prepare for my move to Japan. And to be honest, that year went by really quick, like too quick. I took some visa pictures, turned in some documents, and slowly mentally prepared myself for the move. But for the most part, I had a lot of time to spend to myself. And to catch up with family and friends. I feel like I may have done a lot more leading up to my move to Japan, knowing that I was going to be leaving the country and likely wasn't going to see my hometown in a year. So I bought a DSLR camera, a phone gimbal, and a camera gimbal, and had a huge burst of inspiration, taking pictures, going hiking, just exploring my home turf of the Bay Area, and generally going to places that I wouldn't think to go to had I not known that this date was coming. I spent my last few days in California packing, definitely overpacked, said my farewells, and I even took a photosphere of my room because I anticipated maybe I would feel a little bit of homesickness once I was in Japan. I could have done a lot differently with packing and everything, but that'd be enough material for a part 2. My journey to Japan was surprisingly smooth. I left San Jose, had a layover in Honolulu, and continued on to Narita Airport. Got my residence card, and took a bus to the hotel that I would be staying at during my 5 days of training. Each training day consisted of 9-hour sessions that covered things like contracts, salary, training materials, difficult situations, rules, and mock lessons. After training, a few ALTs and I went up to Nasushiyobara, a rural city in northern Tochigi, which is in the northernmost part of the Kanto region. I got settled into my apartment and did a lot of exploring on foot and by bike, since I didn't get my rental car until a couple weeks later. But getting my car really increased my options and possibilities since everything was really spread out in my city. I should have mentioned that I had a lot of hobbies. A lot of hobbies. Oh man. If you didn't notice already, I suppose I should have mentioned that I had a lot of hobbies back home, like breaking, aka breakdance, cooking, hiking, and sightseeing. I think about this now and then, but even though I was on the lower floor of my apartment, I feel like my neighbors probably hated me because of all the noise that I made. When it finally came time to start the school year, that didn't stop me from going out whenever I could. Whether it was to drive to the supa to get some discounted food items right before closing, to drying laundry at the coin laundry, or even getting a snack at the konbini, or getting a drink at the local vending machine. I always found a reason to go out. One thing that I really loved that I thoroughly miss is the 100 yen plates at the kaiten sushi spot that I would go to with a fellow ALT, usually at the end of the week. Throughout the year and right up until the end of my time in Japan, I felt like there was always something new to see or experience. And I know that Japan will always be a different experience the next time I visit. And that's pretty much how my year went. I wanted to include a bonus section to tie it all together and share some insight into how to stay happy and healthy while living in Japan. And here's a list of tips that I recommend for anybody considering a move to Japan. Continue doing things that you enjoy doing back home, like your hobbies and passions. That could be cooking, video games, reading, hiking, traveling, fashion, playing or making music, etc. The list goes on. And be open to things that you might enjoy, like attending a Japanese festival, or if you like singing, going to a karaoke box with friends. Have some close friends or a local community to hang out with to combat loneliness. In my case, I played sports with local ALTs, played the piano for my church music team, and I rode the train and drove to the local dance studios to practice b-boying with local Japanese b-boys and b-girls. You may be placed in a more rural area with even fewer ALTs. In my case, there was many ALTs in my city, so I was a little spoiled in that aspect. In that case, you can frequent some community centers, some cafes, and you never know when someone might approach you to practice their English. Also, keep in contact with your fellow trainees from initial training so that you can visit their town and vice versa. Or you can go on an adventure together. If you make friends with ALTs in your town, even better. And even though the time difference can be crazy, noontime in Japan is about 7 or 8 p.m. in California, depending on daylight savings, I do recommend that you keep in contact with your friends and family back home. Have a group Zoom call, for instance. Take care of yourself. Aim to get some exercise. I recommend even just some leisurely walking or biking to the konbini. Grab some weights or exercise equipment if you'd rather stay home. Or you can even join a gym. You could even use the outdoor equipment at the park. That and some weights and some other stuff worked just fine for me. I also recommend hiking as well. Go with friends or go alone. I did both. Japan has some beautiful mountain scenery wherever you go. Learn the Japanese language and get to know the culture. There's really no way to get around this, especially if you're not in a big city like Tokyo or Osaka. Watch Japanese television, even with subtitles. Stream popular Japanese dramas or anime on Netflix or other platforms. And use Japanese whenever you can, at the konbini, at the grocery store, at the department store, even at the local park with a simple konnichiwa. I'd say it's a gradual thing. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And this could be an entirely separate video, but take solace in the fact that globalization has made Western things accessible. I'm an American, and McDonald's, KFC, Starbucks, we're all relatively close by. They even have Costco. And stores like Gap, H&M, Adidas, and Nike are all pretty accessible, depending on your location in Japan. And even places like Yamaya or Don Quixote have international sections where you can buy things like tortillas or Vietnamese pho and other international goods. I'm Filipino American, and I even found a store right outside of town that sold Filipino goods and was run by a Filipino person. And that's a wrap. I hope that this video helped give you insight into the mental aspect of moving to Japan and how to keep yourself happy and healthy in Japan. If you would like more videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Lastly, I want to ask you guys, have you ever moved abroad? To Japan, other Asian countries, Europe, or even across states? How was your experience like? And how did you keep yourself happy and healthy over there? Alright guys, I really enjoyed making this video and I hope to see you at the next one. Peace.